These days, whether we're strolling through the supermarket or scrolling online, we're surrounded by products labeled clean, organic, and natural. From cartons of milk and bottles of water to snack bars and packaged spices, the labels look reassuring. But the real question is, can we always trust what's behind those claims? We often believe that eating clean and choosing quality food is enough to stay healthy. But then one day, we find ourselves struggling to climb the stairs. Sitting down is fine, but standing back up feels like lifting a boulder. Even a short walk leaves us winded, cramping, or suddenly short of breath. And we wonder, why does our body feel weaker, even when we're eating reasonably well? One overlooked reason might surprise you. It's not about protein or calcium. It's the silent damage that environmental toxins can cause to our muscles, especially in the legs. In fact, new research has begun to sound the alarm that air pollution, heavy metals, and chemical exposure from water and food packaging may slowly wear down muscle health in older adults, without us even realizing it. And perhaps the clearest warning sign shows up in our legs, the part of the body carrying our weight, day in and day out. So, which environmental triggers are quietly damaging our muscles? How can we spot the signs early? And what can we actually do to protect our strength without making drastic or stressful lifestyle changes? That's what today's video is all about. We'll break it down with simple science, relatable examples, and practical advice you can apply right away. If you're new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss future topics on healthy aging. And if you find this video helpful, share it with someone you care about or drop a comment below so we can keep the conversation going. Now, let's start with the first big hidden threat. 1. Air pollution. We usually associate air pollution with our lungs. But what many of us don't realize is that when harmful particles from traffic, industrial areas, or wildfire smoke enter the body, they don't stop at the respiratory system. These ultrafine particles and toxic gases pass into the bloodstream and travel throughout the body, including straight into our muscles. One of the most dangerous effects they create is something called oxidative stress. It sounds technical, but here's a simple way to picture it. Our body always maintains a delicate balance between helpful oxygen molecules and unstable ones known as free radicals. When we breathe in polluted air, the number of free radicals shoots up. This tips the balance and creates a sort of biological civil war, where even our healthy cells can be harmed in the chaos. Muscle tissue, especially in our legs, is particularly sensitive to this kind of stress. Why does it hit the leg muscles so hard? Because leg muscles require a lot of oxygen and nutrients to support our daily movement. When oxidative stress sets in, free radicals damage the mitochondria inside our muscle cells. And those mitochondria are basically the power plants that generate energy for every move we make. Once they're disrupted, muscles become weaker, they repair more slowly, and they gradually shrink in size over time. Recent studies have found that older adults living in areas with higher air pollution levels show faster and more visible muscle loss than those living in cleaner environments. In other words, the air we breathe could be quietly chipping away at our leg strength. This usually shows up in subtle, everyday changes. For example, someone who used to enjoy brisk walks in the morning may notice their legs get tired faster after moving near a busy road or industrial area. Climbing stairs becomes more taxing. Cramping or leg stiffness happens more often. And yet, we might not blame the air. We chalk it up to aging or a bad day, while the real culprit goes unnoticed. What makes it even trickier is that oxidative stress doesn't make us cough or wheeze right away. It creeps in silently, month after month, slowly weakening the body before we realize something's wrong. So, what can we do to protect our muscles from air pollution? The good news is, we don't need to move to the mountains or invest in fancy air filters. The first step is helping our body fight back by supporting its own defense systems. That means eating more foods rich in natural antioxidants like vitamin C, vitamin E, and especially polyphenols found in vegetables, fruits, green tea, turmeric, and legumes. These compounds help neutralize free radicals before they can damage muscle cells. On top of that, staying lightly active with regular walks or gentle stretching improves blood circulation and supports detox through our lungs and skin, helping the body flush out those harmful particles more effectively. There are also simple daily habits that go a long way. For example, opening the windows in the early morning when the air is cleaner, avoiding busy roads during peak traffic hours, and surrounding your living space with more plants, which naturally purify the air. We don't need to overhaul everything at once. Just a few small steps in the right direction can make a lasting difference in how well our muscles and our whole body hold up against pollution. 2. Heavy metals. Now let's turn our attention to another group of toxins that may be even more dangerous than air pollution heavy metals. When we hear that term, most of us think of industrial waste or toxic job sites. But in reality, trace amounts of heavy metals like lead, mercury, and cadmium can quietly enter our bodies through sources that seem completely ordinary, like tap water, old kitchenware, or even contaminated food grown in polluted soil or irrigated with unsafe water. The real problem is this: our bodies don't eliminate these metals very easily. Unlike other substances that are flushed out relatively quickly, heavy metals tend to stick around. They accumulate slowly in our bloodstream, liver, kidneys, and eventually, they can sneak past the body's protective barriers and settle in our muscles and nerves. Once they get in, they act like silent intruders, triggering low-grade inflammation, disrupting muscle metabolism, and perhaps most damaging of all, interfering with the critical connection between nerves and muscle tissue. To picture how this works, think of your body as a network of electrical wires. The nerves are the cables carrying signals, and the muscles are the light bulbs waiting to respond. Now imagine a few drops of acid leaking onto the wires. At first, nothing dramatic happened, but over time, the cables start to wear down, signals get scrambled, and eventually, the light doesn't turn on. In your body, that's when you start feeling weak in the legs, unstable when you walk, or plagued by muscle pain that doesn't have an obvious cause. One study in older adults in the US found a strong connection between elevated blood levels of lead and mercury and a higher risk of muscle loss. Especially in the legs, people with higher lead levels tended to have significantly weaker muscle strength. Even if their daily routines hadn't changed, this suggests that muscle decline isn't always just about aging sometimes. It's the result of toxins we don't even realize we've been exposed to. So how do we defend ourselves? The first and most important step is limiting exposure. If possible, it's worth checking the quality of your tap water, especially if your home uses older metal pipes. Try to avoid using worn-out or rusted cookware, and choose foods from trusted sources that are less likely to be contaminated by heavy metals in the soil or water supply. On the bright side, our bodies do have a natural detox system. The liver and kidneys are constantly working to filter out unwanted substances, but they can only do their job well if they're getting the right support. That's why nutrients like selenium, zinc, dietary fiber, and antioxidants from green vegetables, beans, seeds, and whole grains are so important. They help the body bind to and remove these heavy metals before they cause deeper damage. The key is not to wait until symptoms show up, because by the time the legs feel noticeably weak or the muscles start losing tone, the buildup has already been happening for a long time. The sooner we become aware of the risks, the better chance we have of keeping our legs strong and steady as we age. So, in today's video, we've explored two invisible but powerful forces that can quietly erode muscle strength after 61st. Air pollution, especially fine particulate matter and toxic gases, can trigger oxidative stress in muscle tissue, leading to gradual damage and slower repair. Second, heavy metals like lead and mercury, when they build up in the body, can interfere with the nerve-muscle connection, making it harder to control movement and weakening our legs over time. Neither of these threats is something we can see with our eyes. And that's exactly what makes them so dangerous. They don't strike all at once. They accumulate slowly, silently, day by day, unless we take action to protect ourselves early on. The good news is we do have options. Choosing clean, whole foods, keeping our living spaces well ventilated, and supporting detox pathways with the right nutrients can all make a real difference. These may seem like small choices, but their impact builds up just like the toxins we're trying to fight. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with a loved one, and subscribe so you don't miss the next health topic we cover. And if you've ever wondered why your legs feel unusually tired, crampy, or weak without a clear reason, drop us a comment below. We'll be diving deeper into those concerns in the upcoming episodes. We'll see you next time right here, where your health always comes first.